Let's talk about pros and cons of traveling in India, especially as a solo female traveler. I traveled in India for 2.5 weeks. Disclaimer, I did the north of India and I did the Golden Triangle, which is more of a tourist term of certain places. So New Delhi, Agra, Jaipur. India has a lot to offer, and I know people are uncertain about India, the safety, and we're going to get into all of that, but I want to focus on the good things because there is a lot of good things about India. The number one reason to why I wanted to go to India is because of the culture and the rich history. I am a firm believer that to really understand the history of a place, you have to go to that place. So for me to be able to explore India and see all of these very cultural important places like Delhi, like Jaipur, like Varanasi. So if there's a country where you want to experience culture and history, India, it is the number one place to go. On top of having an incredible history that dates back to ages and ages ago, the fact that they got independent in 1947, I believe, it's just insane to me. With a rich history comes temples, it comes religions. There's so much Hinduism and Buddhism and Muslims and Christians. It's just a country of diversity. Another pro with India is that it has it all. To be able to explore India, you need like maybe 2 years because it's so big, it has so much to offer, and 2.5 weeks, it just did not do the justice. But I do know from the experience of being there and everyone telling me how the different parts are that Goa, perfect for just beach vibes, more a place where you could go backpacking and be safer as a solo female traveler. Goa has been like the number one place people have told me you'll be fine there. Then you have Delhi, you have more of like the north, but still not north part of India. Chaotic, very, very much chaotic, very much insane, and a culture shock, both on the good side and the bad side, to be honest. And then you have even more north, where you kind of border to like Pakistan and Nepal, more of the meditation kind of region of India. For someone going there for the first time, I think doing the Golden Triangle, in my opinion, gives good understanding of India. Of course, not everything, but I kind of got a hang of how it works, although it is different within like every 100 kilometers, like a different India. It's good to just do like a route that feels safe, and you know a lot of people do as well, especially for a first-time visitor. Then we have the food. First of all, the food in India, I've had nothing like it before. Indian food, it has my heart. There's nothing that can compete with Indian food in India. And it wasn't even that spicy, and it's very, very good for vegetarians. So such a good place for that. The last is that it's pretty cheap to go traveling. India is a perfect place for backpackers. Cheap to get around, it's cheap to eat outside. Everything is just so affordable. Definitely a good affordable place to go traveling. We're gonna start easy on one of the cons, and that is the distances, because it takes ages to go from one place to another. There's beauty in that as well. I was like, okay, it's not gonna be that big of a stretch, but holy moly, it took 12 hours. And then you see on Google Maps, it's just like from here to there, and you are relying on public transport like trains and metro system, buses, and they might not be in the most perfect condition. I would always recommend train over anything else because I had very good experiences with trains. It's also your own seat, it's usually air conditioned, it's somewhat reliable when it comes to time, and then it's safety. So I travel usually alone as a solo female traveler, I like to call myself. In India, I did a few days in Delhi alone, which was fine, but I don't want to sugarcoat it and say like, oh yeah, don't even worry about anything, just go and have the best time. You have to be more aware of your surroundings, and definitely in India, that's the truth of it all. Power dynamic between women and men, it's different. I noticed, I felt it, I saw it. Even Indian women told me to be careful, and so many Indian men told me the same thing. So it's not something you just make up, it's even something that the people in India are aware of themselves. So please just be extra cautious. Not be outside late. I was never outside when it was dark. I was always with a group or another man. That's how I felt more comfortable. I told you I was in north of India, the chaotic places like Delhi, Jaipur, Varanasi. You have to be more careful there. As anywhere else, in the capitals and big cities, that's where a lot of things happen. Where I was, I definitely felt the rush, the pushing, people touching. The men would stare at me, and it didn't scare me because I was with other people. I think it would scare me way more if I was completely alone. I think it's also because of a fascination, because I'm very pale and blonde hair, blue eyes, so doesn't necessarily have to be in a creepy way, just more as in a fascinating way. They're like, oh, you look very different, and I do, like, it's fine, it makes sense. But it still might be a bit uncomfortable. The way you dress is very important. In India, I was dressed up all the time. And I think it was like 40 degrees. Sweat was dripping. I looked horrible, but I was dressing up. I was wearing long skirts. I was wearing long sleeves. Not really any tight clothing. First of all, it's out of respect, because that's the vibe in India, that's what I'm gonna wear. And second of all, it's also for my safety, because the way that you dress is also the way that you show how you respect yourself and the way people will view you as a person. Please just bring long sleeves, linen, whatever, but just dress up, please. I said that one of the pros was the food. And that's also one of the cons. I was lucky enough not to experience Delhi belly. Delhi belly is just like a general term of people that just gets really, really sick. India is definitely on another level when it comes to hygiene. Probably not a shocker, might be a shocker, but I'm just putting it out there, it's different. I didn't get sick at all, so I would consider myself very lucky. Just be aware of some street food places might not be ideal for me and you to eat at. The same with toilets and other like public areas might not be as clean. I got a tip from an Indian man. He told me to look at the person selling the food. And if his teeth are okay, his nails, and if his eyes are okay, that means that it's probably okay to eat there. But if they look sick themselves, if their eyes are a bit yellow, then stay away from the food. That's what he does. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna copy and paste that to my life when I'm in India as well. Saying no. I talked about being a bit uncomfortable with people coming up to you all the time. The thing is, that happened a lot. I was by India Gate in New Delhi, and it was a big crowd. Like, I felt like it was like 100 Indian guys just running around me and just asking for photos, wanting to take videos. They might treat you almost as a star. I'm not gonna lie. For some people, it's very nice. For some people, it's just way too much. Pro tip right there is that if someone asks you, hey, can I take a photo with you? Just say no from the get-go. Just tell them no, thank you. And they will leave you alone. As soon as you say yes, it's like, I felt like the whole of India heard me say yes. And they went like, whoa. People everywhere. I don't know if I can say it's a pro or a con, because it is beautiful to just see the locals running around doing their thing. And for me, it was just a shock to see how many people can move around and the chaos. Again, this is more for the bigger cities, but when I was in Jaipur, I was on a rooftop just looking down, and the traffic looked insane. But it's almost like it's organized chaos. On the streets, there were cars, scooters, cows, dogs, women, babies, everything. And it all just worked out. I think India now is the most populated country in the whole world. If I'm not mistaken, it should be like 1.4 billion people. My Indian guide told me no matter where you turn around in India, it will always be an Indian person there. I didn't believe him in the beginning, but then I went on a bike ride in Old Delhi at 5-6 a.m. and there was people chilling, making food, making tea, and I was like, when do you guys sleep? Like, what's going on? With a lot of people comes a lot of other things, and what shocked me the most was just the difference between rich and poor. And when I say poor, I mean like really, really poor. So when we were taking the train, alongside the train tracks, there was just like houses made out of plastic. And then we went to these rich houses and we made food with the local family, which was beautiful. The house was incredible, and I remember being like, wow, it's such a huge difference. But again, it's like this with every country, but definitely in India I felt that the rich and poor was like two different worlds. So I think that was one of like the cons for my thing, because my heart just breaks when I see people being treated so differently. All things considered, I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to go to India and explore so much of India. Although it was only 2.5 weeks, I got to experience Varanasi, the Ganges River, Taj Mahal, and also make a few Indian friends as well. They do have a big heart. They're so interested in you, and so am I in them. So I feel like I made great connections. It was a country that has so much to offer. I just got a bit of taste of it, and I loved it so far. But I also want to, as I said, not sugarcoat anything. If you've ever been to India, let me know how your experience was and where you went. And if you haven't gone to India, please let me know if this video was helpful. And if you have any more questions, I'd love to answer them in the comment section below. I usually never do this give me a like, give me a follow, comment. But I think it's important to have a discussion, and the comment section would be perfect for that. With that, I'll see you guys next Sunday, and I'm actually in another country next Sunday. So yeah, stay tuned for that vlog. Bye!